So let's talk about the 4-hour testimony that went down recently in Congress between um, that sanctioning body and or the governing body, sorry, and retired NFL Hall of Fame quarterback Brett Favre, who's been the subject of an investigation that involved missing tenant funds that he stole to fund a volleyball facility for his daughter and a startup company called Pravacus used to cure concussions. And I was under the belief, and still am, I'm not changing anything, that they were going to use that company as a springboard to sell this product to the NFL because the NFL has had problems with concussions, and considering that Brett Favre played in the NFL, him and Jake Van Landingham was going to make money hand over fist with this company called Pravacus. Now, Anna Wolf, the woman who initially exposed Brett Favre 2 years ago, because remember, had it not been for that water crisis out there, right, we would have never known that all this money was being unaccounted for. A lot of people seem to forget that the whole reason this whole thing got exposed from the jump was because of that Jackson, Mississippi water crisis. What's up, y'all? Nathan, my sister Daylove in the building. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, right? So Anna Wolf was the woman who exposed this whole scandal. And Brett Favre, along with other people like then Governor Phil Bryant, tried to shut her up for all intents and purposes. So let's talk about this hearing that went down recently, right? Minutes before the House Committee on Ways and Means held a hearing on Tuesday on the topic of temporary assistance for needy families, the subject of a still unfolding scandal in Mississippi, Chairman Rep. Jason Smith huddled with his colleagues. The other congressman wanted to know why the chairman had invited former NFL quarterback Brett Favre, who is facing civil charges, it should be criminal charges too, for his alleged role in diverting tenant funds to a volleyball stadium and a pharmaceutical startup, to testify. Then Smith revealed one of the congressmen asked the question about the underscored larger program. What is TANF? That's Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, is a $16 billion a year federal grant administered by states to address poverty. What is known for providing for assistance known as the welfare check to low-income families, states has been spending the vast majority of the money in other ways, including some with tenuous connections to the TANF purpose. The unnamed lawmaker is about 4 years late to the game. Brett Favre said he learned what TANF was in 2020 when Mississippi State Auditor Shad White released an audit naming Favre as one of the was named as one of the improper recipients of an estimated $94 million in misused funds. Smith said he invited Favre to testify about the rampant abuse of the program, which ensnared the athlete in a reputation-marring scandal, as part of a conversation about how to transfer TANF funds to reach needy families and move people into work. Okay, so hold on. Let me make sure I'm understanding something, right? So Congress, let me make sure I'm understanding something right? So you're going to bring in the guy that's been accused of stealing the money, and you're going to ask that guy, or what could be done to reform that program? Are you kidding me? Are you serious? You can't make this stuff up. Okay, I'm going to rewind one more time to make sure I'm understanding this and I'm processing this information correctly. Right? So you want to reform the way the money is being distributed, the way the money is being tracked, and all that, right? So you're going to bring in the guy who is accused of stealing that money. A guy who has made $100 million in his NFL career. He stole that money, allegedly, to fund a volleyball stadium for his daughter and to run a startup company along with Jake Van Landingham. You can bring in that guy to give you answers on how to reform that program. Lord have mercy, boy, I tell you. You can't make this stuff up. Boy, Lord. Wow, bro. Wow. Wow. I mean, if there's some things that make you amazed when you read the stuff up, boy, I tell you, Lord Jesus, have mercy on my soul. But 4 years after the original audit, Mississippians have more to learn about how the misspending occurred, who was all responsible, and how the government plans to hold them accountable. Yeah, I'm very curious about that. A federal criminal investigation quickly drags on as 7 people who has pleaded guilty await prison sentencing. A slow-moving state civil lawsuit against Favre and 3 dozen other gag defendants and their attorneys for speaking publicly about the case. And the Federal Human Service Agency has yet to enact meaningful guardrails around the program. A report that the committee requested last year and was released on Tuesday found that accounting deficiencies within the TANF program occur in all 50 states, and little is done to correct them. A committee heard Tuesday from a beneficiary of Missouri's TANF work program, Matt Underhow, a corrections officer and a father of 7 children. Underhow was in his early 40s when he took action to turn his life around after nearly 2 decades of drug abuse and unstable employment. He learned about the state's TANF Fund program called the Missouri Excel Center on Facebook. Through it, he received transportation assistance to get to and from class, earned his high school diploma. He said the program offered to pay for things like steel-toe boots or scrubs to help people succeed at work. He said the program taught him that there is always a way to remove any barrier that you may have, and that the people and programs out there that care and can help you. The Mississippi TANF program hardly works this way. In 2022, the cash assistance program, no more than $260 a month for a family of 3, served 291 adults. Of those, fewer than 1% were employed. TANF funds are supposed to be a work program, but Mississippi imposes such strict eligibility requirements and such hard sanctions, such as taking away a person's food benefits, that low-income Mississippians are scared to apply, said Jarvis Dortch, the director of the ACLU in Mississippi. When the state has contracted with outside agencies to provide work training like Underhow described, it does not produce reports to say what programs were offered and who they have served. The largest subrecipients of non-assistance funds are not workforce training agencies, but organizations that work with children, the Child Abuse and Neglect Investigations Department, the Boys and Girls Club, Children's Mental Health Organization, and a global humanitarian nonprofit. Mississippians continue to spend little on direct cash assistance while continuing to provide $10 to unaccountable third parties, George said in his testimony. The federal government gathers little information about how states choose to use the TANF grants, except for periodic reporting on how they divvy up the money among several vague categories: basic assistance, child welfare services, work education, training activities, work supports, child care out of wedlock, pregnancy prevention, fatherhood, and 2-parent family formation and maintenance programs. Mississippi consistently spends a much greater share of its TANF grants on work, education, and training activities than most states, 40% in 2022. With that statistic, Mississippi TANF program may seem if it's prioritizing solutions to generational poverty. Sounds good until you look under the hood. A closer look shows that roughly 80% of that spending is on a college scholarship program serving middle-class families. In Mississippi, $5 million of the spending that is labeled work activities, work supports, or fatherhood programs was actually the construction of a new volleyball stadium. In 2017, Favre started lobbying for money from a nonprofit funded almost entirely by tenant funds to build a volleyball stadium at his alma mater, the University of Southern Mississippi. The nonprofit founder, Nancy New, who pleaded guilty, one of seven, I might add, informed him that federal restrictions prevented her from using the money on construction projects, but they thought if they called the facility a wellness center and included the classrooms where the nonprofit could ostensibly hold classes for needy parents, the nonprofit could provide the family or the funding through a $5 million upfront lease of the property. Lawyers hired by the State Welfare Department in 2022 filed civil charges against the university's athletic foundation, and 7 people said they were responsible for this sham, including Favre. New is awaiting sentencing on state charges for her role in this overarching scheme. So you got Nancy New, her son Zach New, John Davis, Jake Van Landingham. That's 4. Then you got Brett DiBiase, right? Who's the younger brother of Ted DiBiase Jr., who was taking that money and he was going to drug rehab retreats when he was supposed to be speaking on drug rehab. So they were just taking this money and they were using it for their own self-gratification. So let me get this straight, Brett Favre. So you coming out and announcing that, oh well, yeah, I got Parkinson's disease. And was that designed to give sympathy? Was that designed to divert attention from the fact that you stole money? Huh? Because if you ask me, what's up, Hamza? Salute to you. If you ask me, I think Brett Favre used that as a way to divert attention from the fact that he stole money to fund a volleyball arena for his daughter and to fund a drug company that cures concussions. All the meanwhile, there's people who don't have the money, who don't have the status that Brett Favre has, who was suffering and was depending on that money. And yet there's all these barriers that gets in the way of them getting that money, whether it be an income barrier, a credit barrier, or a job barrier. There's always some barrier that gets in the way for someone who is less fortunate and more deserving of that money. But Brett Favre, just because he played in the NFL and he's their golden child and whatever else, he gets access to that money, and then he's spending this money like it's going out of style. Make it make sense. There's people out there that really need that money. Brett Favre don't need that money. Brett Favre made $100 million in his NFL career. And then we didn't even talk about the money that he gets from the pension as a retiree from the NFL. So it's not like he's hurting for money. Brett Favre ain't starving. And then we talked about the text messages, right? That implicates him in this nonsense with Nancy New. But yeah, Congress, let's bring in the guy who's accused of stealing money and let's ask him, how can we reform this program? All the meanwhile, the people around him is pleading guilty, copping pleas, help offering to work with the feds to get a slap on the wrist or a light prison sentence. Let's ask that guy. Mm-mm-mm. U.S. Rep. Adrian Smith, a Republican out of Nebraska, asked Favre on Tuesday how officials characterized the source of the funding he was seeking. Favre said it was his understanding that they were grants. Brett Favre said that it was never was TANF or welfare funds mentioned in any conversations. Were such public funds mentioned? He asked, and then Brett Favre responded. Well, he didn't immediately respond. He said, was it, Adrian Smith asked, was it your understanding that it was private funds from a wealthy individual or some source? Brett Favre then goes, I don't recall. I just remember that it was grant money. Now, Favre and New also arranged an additional $1.1 million payment in exchange for Favre to record a radio ad promoting the welfare program, which aired the following year. Brett Favre texted the nonprofit operator, and this what implicates him in this, because I talked about this on a whole bunch of videos covering Brett Favre. If you were to pay me, is there any way that the media can find out where it came from and how much? Now, if that doesn't implicate Brett Favre in some scheme, I don't know what does. I'm gonna repeat that one more time for the hearing impaired and the challenge, um, and the critically thinking challenge, right? If you were to pay me, is there any way the media could find out where it came from and how much? If that doesn't implicate Brett Favre, I don't know what does. Now, Democrat Rep. Linda Sanchez enlarged and printed the text message on the display board that she brought to the hearing. Favre returned those funds to the state in 2020 and 2021. After Favre secured the funds for the initial groundbreaking on the volleyball stadium, he returned the news for an additional investment for a startup pharmaceutical venture, claiming it was going to produce a drug to treat concussions, an injury to which Favre was very familiar with. The project received over $2 million in welfare funds, but still no drug was developed. The founder of that company, Jake Van Landingham, pleaded guilty with the ongoing federal probe back in July. The revelation of Favre's Parkinson's diagnosis made national headlines before the TANF hearing concluded. Testimony from Sam Aldofson, policy director for the conservative think tank Foundation for Government Accountability, challenged whether states should be entirely to blame for TANF misspending. What do you mean? What do you mean? They should exactly get the blame. If you're going to get the money, there needs to be accountability for every fucking penny that's being distributed. Sam Aldofson kick rocks, you bitch. Anyway, when Aldofson served as the chief operating officer for the Maine Department of Health and Human Services, he said his agency exercised policies that allow states to transfer TANF funds to another federal program, the Social Services Block Grant, which involved home-based services for seniors and people with disabilities, domestic violence support centers, transportations, and other services. You should not be able to take that money and distribute it other places. What are you talking about? See, that's how that shit gets misspent. That's how shit gets unaccounted for. And that's how shit ends up in the wrong hands. When you get money for a program, it's supposed to be used for that program and that program only. You should not be able to divert funds as you see fit. The fuck you talking about? The hell this man talking about? Sam F. Dobson, he need to be under investigation. Dawson said in a written testimony that Maine officials have sought guidance from the federal agency that administers the funds, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, with often nuclear communications from officials. Maine auditors eventually raised concerns about some of his transfer spending, and the state reversed the expenditures. Yeah, exactly. In Mississippi, At least one defendant in the ongoing civil case has said that the federal welfare officials were present in the planning of programs that auditors later found unlawful. More work can be done in federal law to provide states with more clarity on the flexibility of these transfers and advance in such expenditures. What the fuck you mean? Sam F. Dawson, hey, they need to investigate this guy. This guy really needs to be under investigation because I'm pretty sure this dude has done some shit illegally. You know what? I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to come back to him in another video. I'm going to come back to that clown in another video. Yeah, we're going to talk about Sam L. Dawson because I think that cat's shady. I think that motherfucker is a criminal. I think that motherfucker was taking money and funding his own lifestyle too. Now, a moment in the civil case against Favre and roughly 3 dozen other people and companies, which attempts to claw back an implausible $80 million in misspending, picked up the day before Favre's testimony on Monday. Favre's lawyers fired off 10 new subpoenas requiring depositions from the state auditor's office, Deputy State Auditor Stephanie Palmtree, the Attorney General's office, Lieutenant Governor Officer Tate Reeves, former Reeves Chief of Staff Brad White, former First Lady Deborah Bryant, and 3 individual Mississippi Department of Human Services employees. At the hearing, Favre particularly threw shade at State Auditor Shad White, the state official who launched the initial investigation into the welfare spending, and has since written a book about the ordeal with Favre's name in the subtitle. The athlete is suing White for defamation. Hey, you gonna sue me for defamation too? Huh? You gonna sue me for defamation? Huh? Your name is tied up in this bullshit. You gonna sue me for defamation too? Favre called White an ambitious public official who tried to tarnish his reputation to try to advance his own political career. So you gonna try to sue me too? Huh? Just like how you try to go after Anna Wolf, because Anna Wolf exposed your dumb ass? Huh? So let me get this straight. You got this Parkinson's disease. Whether you have it or not is irrelevant, right? Whether or not you have Parkinson's disease is irrelevant. What is relevant, though, is that you took money from people that you had no business taking it from. And then you tried to sue Shannon Sharp. You tried to sue Pat McAfee. All these people you trying to sue for defamation, right? And these cases getting kicked back. You tried to get the case thrown out at the Supreme Court. They kicked it back. All these people around you like Nancy New, Jake Van Landingham and such, cop it please. But you ain't did nothing wrong, Brett Favre. You squeaky clean. And I'm supposed to be sympathetic because you caught a disease. If you're looking for sympathy over here, you got to go somewhere else and find that shit. What's up, Black Spider? Salute to my sister in the building. Now, for those of you that might claim that I'm heartless and all that, well, guess what? I'm a black man in America. I don't get no sympathy nowhere, okay? Hell, an innocent black man was just executed in Missouri yesterday. So yeah, I'm a black man in America. I don't get no sympathy from nobody. Shout out to the Black Spider for a $5 super sticker. I appreciate it. An innocent black man was just executed last night in Missouri, 6 o'clock local time by lethal injection. Okay? All the meanwhile, we got people out here stealing money like it's going out of style, and they can sit down in congressional hearings to give advice on how to reform a broken product. You got a woman who is associated with Sam Bankman-Fried, who helped them steal billions of dollars, like $8 billion. A woman who actually helped Sam Bankman-Fried steal $8 billion, and she only get 2 years in jail. Two. Brett Favre might look like he might never get a day in court. Make it make sense. Somebody got to help me make that make sense, because it don't make sense to me. I'm sorry. I just don't understand. I don't understand. Shad White wrote a letter to the Ways and Means Committee on Monday evening in an effort to preempt any negative impression Favre may give of him. White included photos of Favre's text messages to remind lawmakers of the athlete's interest in keeping the payments confidential. Yeah, because if they keep it confidential, that means he's not implicated in the scheme. Favre also questioned the current leadership of the state's welfare agency, which has paid Jones Walker law firm nearly $1.5 million in TANF funds to bring on the ongoing civil action. Favre tried to deflect and said that these same lawyers, before they sued him, came to his hometown to try to convince him to retain them in this very dispute. The University of Southern Mississippi attempted to resolve the claims against it by setting up scholarship programs for the TANF eligible students, but the plaintiff rejected the settlement, which would have shut off the spigot of any TANF funds to the lawyers. Back to the original question by Chairman Smith's colleagues, what was the purpose of inviting Favre to speak before Congress? If someone in Mississippi is accused of misspending $50 in SNAP benefits, that person's life would be turned upside down. Mr. Favre's here, right here, and he's accused of misspending millions of dollars, and he's speaking before Congress. Something is wrong. You don't think? You don't think? Anybody that did what Brett Favre did would have already been tried, convicted, and thrown in prison. I talked about a lady by the name of Angelique Lee. She's a congresswoman out there in Mississippi. She was busted taking bribes to the tune of $20,000 and a Christian Louboutin bag. So she's pleaded guilty. She's removed from public office, never to hold public office ever again. And she's going to go to prison for taking a $20,000 bribe and a Christian Louboutin bag from an undercover agent posing as a real estate developer. So we're going to get a congresswoman, Angelique Lee, put in prison for taking a bribe. How is this guy speaking before Congress and nothing happens to him? Make that make sense. Because see, when I come on this bitch, I don't speak dumb shit. When I come on this motherfucker, you will best believe my facts are going to be in line with everything that's going on. When I come on here, you can best believe my ducks are going to be in a row. So, again, how is a congresswoman who was busted for taking a bribe going to prison, but yet this guy who stole way much more money than Angelique Lee is still running right here free and testifying before Congress, giving advice on the reform of TANF funds? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Keep telling y'all, we're in a situation where up is down and down is up. And this ain't nothing more than political theater. The Ways and Means Committee want to hold this hearing instead of taking action. So what's going to come out of this, right? Is the DOJ going to get involved now? Is the FBI going to get involved? See, that's why I don't like about these congressional hearings, because on the other side, you really don't see any driving action that comes out behind it. Nobody gets fired. Nobody gets prosecuted. It was just, some politician want to, look good for the camera and then go on Fox News or ABC News or Newsmax, whatever fucking news outlet that's going to tickle their fancy that night. What comes out of these hearings? What's going to come out about this? Huh? Is Jason Whitlock going to finally find some journalistic integrity about him? Because he sure can find the nearest Golden Corral or the nearest Dunkin' Donuts. But he ain't going to find the integrity to question Brett Favre about this bullshit he's involved in. Stephen A. Smith does some one blink and you're missing segment on First Take about it. So again, what is going to come out from this meeting? Y'all hold this congressional hearing, and what is going to come out about this, huh? Is there going to be sweeping changes that's going to get implemented by Congress, huh? Are there going to be sweeping changes? Is people going to get prosecuted? Because I can guarantee you that one guy I just talked about early in the stream, I'm going to talk about him in another video because I think that motherfucker shady. I think that dude's shady. And then Brett Favre going to sit up there and use that platform to announce that he got Parkinson's disease. Like I'm supposed to be thrown off by that. Oh, let's just forget the fact that he stole tens of millions of dollars to try to start up a company and try to get a volleyball arena for his daughter. And let's be sympathetic to the fact that he got Parkinson's now. That there's not a whole lot of time left. To do what? Steal more money? What's up, Stevie J? Salute. That's one of my day one subs, man. Stevie J been with me since the beginning. Him, Craig J, Monterey Moore, amongst others, but they were the main ones. So shout out to my man Stevie J in the building. I don't know where Tone Banger's at, but he was another one. So Brett Favre, you said there's not a whole lot of time left. So I want to know, where's there not a whole lot of time left to do? Huh? You don't have a whole lot of time left on this earth. You don't have a whole lot of time left to steal more money. You don't have a whole lot of time left to see your daughter grow and get married and have children of her own. What do you mean by that? Then explain how all these other people around you that's copying pleas and working with the feds to build a case against you. Huh? Explain that. Because it don't make sense to me. It really don't. Similar behavior was on full display in the House committee hearing on Tuesday when Favre entered the Longfellow office building hearing room. Cameras clicked and attendees turned their heads to catch a glimpse in the NFL Hall of Famer. U.S. Rep. Brett Van Dunn, a Republican out of Texas, said it seemed that Favre had become a victim of his own celebrity. Sanchez, the California representative, delivered the most aggressive questions about Favre and his involvement in the welfare scandal. To which U.S. Rep. Drew Ferguson, Republican of Georgia, responded, "Unlike my colleague, I'm not mad at you about much, but I'm mad you couldn't stay with the Atlanta Falcons." What the fuck, really, dude? Really, dude? Really, Drew Ferguson? Really, Drew Ferguson? So let me get this straight. Let me get this straight. Drew Ferguson, Republican out of Georgia. Let me get this straight. We're having a hearing about Brett Favre misspending tenant funds, and you are here mad because he didn't stay with the Atlanta Falcons? Really, dude? Really? Is that? Hey, this is where your $174,000 a year is going, y'all. So again, Brett Favre took millions of dollars that he's not supposed to get from people who need that money to fund a volleyball arena for his daughter and to start up a company with Jake Van Lanningham called Pavakis that's going to cure concussions so he can sell that drug to the NFL to make more money, hand over fist, right? But you worried about him staying with the Atlanta Falcons? Are you fucking serious right now, bro? This is where your $174,000 a year is going, y'all. Makes no sense to me, man. I tell you, man, this is Lord have mercy. But yeah, man, that was the breakdown of the 4-hour long congressional hearing that took place on Tuesday involving Brett Favre and the misspent of tenant funds or whatever. I mean, if you ask me, nothing's going to come out of this. Nobody's going to go to prison. Nobody's going to get audited. Nobody's going to get investigated, right? It's just one big old dog and pony show designed to waste your money, waste your time, and to get the politicians talking on Fox News or whatever media outlet that tickles their fancy at the particular time. You say they should have made him piss in the cup. That what California was trying to do to anyone apply for food stamps. Yeah. You got to go through a stringent process just to even get food stamps. And you know, it varies by state. But if you make if they think you make too much money, you're not getting any kind of assistance. If they think that you don't meet other requirements, you're not going to get that money. But somehow Brett Favre can use his name and status and image and likeness. And hey, you know, Brett Favre signed my football when I was a little kid, and then he gets unlimited access to all this money. He can do whatever he want with it, however he want, whenever he want, however he want, and yet there's going to be no consequences or repercussions. Nothing. Oh, because he's Brett Favre. You know, we can't do nothing to Brett Favre. He's the golden child. You guys let me know what y'all think, man. If you're not subscribing to this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and share these videos on your social media platforms. Yeah, every time Brett Favre in the news on some bullshit, we coming up the rear, and we going to give you that raw, unadulterated cocaine, the truth, right? That's right. Because this man has no business in Congress right now. He should be trading that suit for an orange one. Yeah, exactly. You're rip on that. Hey man, look, you gotta be on the verge of dying to get goddamn any kind of assistance or whatever like that. And then even then, you're limited to what you can get. Oh, you only gonna come one time a month. Even if you do get the assistance, you're only limited to how much you can do it. But anyway, I thank everybody for tuning in. Shouts out to the LDBC. If you want to donate, there's the Cash App, there's the PayPal on the bottom. I thank everyone who donated to the stream. I thank everyone for tuning in. If it weren't for you, Liking, sharing, subscribing. There's no the Sports and Political Channel LB, and I want everybody to know that. I really thank y'all from the bottom of my heart for lending me your ear, letting me be your voice, and I don't take that for granted. Shouts out to the LDBC once again. This your man. Scream at me. Ho!